Freaky Friday is intended for adults and is a show featuring adult conversations. Topics may vary, but are focused on human sexuality, fetish, and topics of intimate nature. Some may feel uncomfortable watching this show, and some topics may take you out of your comfort zone. We encourage everyone to stay and learn, as we hope this is an educational show, but stress that viewer discretion is advised. And if a topic makes you feel uncomfortable, please do not continue watching. Welcome to Freaky Friday. Welcome to Freaky Friday, where we dare to talk about taboo topics like fetish, bondage, sex, vibrators, and more. This isn't your dad's Friday night programming, but your mom loves it. Welcome to Freaky Friday, hosted by Mr. erSiN, who is the unboxable, uncanny advocating creator known as the Indie Comics Devil, who will tempt you with his devilish tales of fetish, monsters, and more. Also the giver of free hugs and spanks. Everyone watching this program will get virtual free hugs and spanks. It's time to get on with the show. Welcome to Freaky Friday. Music provided by the YouTube Audio Library. Produced by Silent Partner. Song name, Tied Up. Warning and disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this live feed are those of the guests, speakers, and or hosts, and do not necessarily reflect the beliefs, official policies, ethics, or positions of the content providers, advertisers, additional hosts, and or guests, hosting sites, groups, or entities attached to this programming. Viewer discretion is advised. And believe it or not, some people still don't know who I am, so just in case you don't know, Mr. erSiN is the unboxable advocating creator known as the Indie Comics Devil, who will tempt you with his devilish tales of fetish, monsters, and more. He is the giver of free hugs and spanks, and he is a partner in Continual Comics. Check out everything erSiN at chainlinks.site. So welcome to the show. If everything goes well, I'm going to be at SuperCon. I'm probably having dinner while you guys are watching this. So this is pre-recorded, just so you know. I don't want anyone thinking I'm not answering them. So we're going to be talking about that sign, free hugs and spanks. That's right, an entire show. We're going to spend 10 minutes just talking about this thing right here. And how did this all begin? What is this? Oh, man. So first, we have to go down the history, a quick history of me. So as you guys can see, my biggest fan has joined us for today's show. Yeah, dad humor, I know. But so this sign basically saved my sanity in a show. So as a comic book creator, you spend a lot of time alone. You actually really do sometimes spend your time behind a table, and you get people's reactions. And at some bad shows, people will point and say unkind things, especially considering I write a fetish book. So you can imagine that it's not always easy to do a fetish book, right? And back in the day, we used to have, I don't think it's explicit considering what's in Artist Alley, but we had definitely pictures of Barbara tied up to advertise it. And it did stop the right audience, but the wrong audience reacted to it. As I've said, in America, Americans are sexually immature. So they would see it and they wouldn't know how to react. And most people would giggle because they didn't really know how to do it and how to kind of comprehend and respect that it's someone else's, fetish. And then other people would flat out have little comments under their breath and say something. So I'm at this show in Virginia. And at the shows back in the day, I only had 3 books. I had Barbara Unleashed, which at the time was called Fetish Babies. And you might see it on that picture. I don't know if that picture says Fetish Babies or not on the ring, but I'll show it to you in a second. Then I had a Monsters book, and I had Jax the erSiN. So it was very different books. And that's where the Fetish, Monsters, and More that's on top of here comes from. See this right here, creator of Fetish, Monsters, and More. That's what it came from, that initial thing, because people didn't know how to to understand me because he's writing a fetish book and something about monsters. And the monsters aren't even monsters. They're human beings with genetic disorders. And it's Hollywood who are the real monsters. That's right. I thought about 50 Shades of Grey when I did that. And mind you, I wear the T-shirt to the gym too, so I do get looks for the T-shirt and all that. But having, and even on the back of my shirt, it says "Creator Fetish Monsters and More." This has been a great gateway to have conversations. This all stemmed from being able to have conversations with people, and it comes from this day. So here we go. This was all right. So I was at a Comic-Con in Virginia. I won't say which one. I'm not going to be that guy, but I was at a Comic-Con in Virginia, and this was one of the worst shows I ever had. I'll be honest. I was not having a good day. People had said something under their breath. One guy had gotten very, very rude, almost to my face, and almost wanting a confrontation. He was drunk. All the people I dealt with, it was a Friday, and they were already drunk, and it was only like 3 o'clock, the group that had come in. And I remember just being pissed off. Now, this is about 4 years ago now. And 4 years ago, these light up signs were all the rage at Comic-Cons. Everyone was doing these light up signs. So I did one. And at the time, this actually said, "Meet the Indie Advocate." Because for those who don't know, I am actually an advocate for comics. But at a show, I'm a creator, but I was trying to do both. I'm trying to do all at once. And it definitely becomes, let me tell you, when you try to do too much at once, people have a tendency to not understand it. And as someone with ADHD and like 15 tracks running at the same time, I don't understand it. I know a lot of people say it's just I have a focusing issue, but no, I can really run different ideas at different times. So I'm all these things in one, and just the idea that the idea of just Barbara at this point, it's Fetish Babies is on the title of the books. And people don't know what to make of that because instantly it's like, oh, you're into babies? No, that's pedophilia. Fetish Babies was actually a reference. And for those who read Barbara Unleashed, you know it's a reference to an immature person getting into the fetish community and the actual lifestyle, if you would. And then people also sometimes confuse it with a baby fetish, that's when people like to do age play and some people dress up as babies. It wasn't the same thing. Very confusing. And that goes to branding. And that's a whole conversation I have on comicbookadvocates.com if you want to join in on that. But my branding was a little off. And then I'm at this show and I'm just getting pooped on. There's no other way to put it. But I'm just getting pooped on. And I don't, no one likes to get pooped on, right? We don't want to get pooped on. So I'm sitting there and this guy I had this altercation with this guy and he was being a real jerk. So I took down the sign. I can't tell you what possessed me to do this. I can't. It just came to me. And I said, you know what? I'm going to start spanking people. I'm going to start offering to spank people just to shine these people on. So I'm going to put free spanks. And then it dawned on me that, wait a minute, there's always someone at a Comic-Con who goes around going free hugs. I was like, let me combine them. So at first it was, if you ever notice I go free hugs and spanks, it just sounds better than free spanks and hugs. And I think that my dyslexia has gotten me because on all my posters, it's always said spanks before hugs, but I always say free hugs and spanks. Either way, I made this sign. It was a shine on, and that show went from 0 sales to being a really good show. And again, that's why I didn't want to talk badly about the show, because I actually did rather well. Considering I had 3 books at the time, I did rather well. And this was a show where it was one of the first times I hadn't been traveling with Jax. So like I was kind of feisty and I was getting in the middle of a divorce. So I don't even know if I would have created something like this outside of that bubble of kind of anger that I was living in. And we were dealing with some unfortunate family sickness, and there was a lot of stress. So this came from a moment of stress. Now, since then, the reason we're talking so much about this today is these words, free hugs and spanks. You guys can see it evolved a bit over its time, and I'll show you even where it's evolving to now. This sign, I have been asked not to put it up. This sign, I have been told, makes me a pedophile because I put this up at shows. There's no imagery you guys can see on here. Like, here we go. I'll lean this in. Let me see if I can get this a little lower for you guys. I'm going to lower this so you guys can see. I'm going to bring it down. You saw the free spanks and hugs. So there it is. Fetish, monsters, and more. That's the entire sign. This sign has caused people to literally lose their minds. I have had people who are like, you can't hang that. These are words, guys. Next time someone tells you words don't matter, understand I've had major conventions ask me not to hang this sign. These are the same conventions that'll have boobs popping out, will have nudity displayed, will have people showing severed heads, and have cosplayers walking around basically showing the world the goods. But this is the line. And no one can explain it to me. Because when I push someone down, they're going, well, you know, Rob, you're talking about Spanx, and why is talking about fetish bad? And no one can say anything, well, that's just the way the world is. That's just the way the world is. That's just how it is. That you just have to understand that. That's what I'm being told. These words are that powerful that people are intimidated by them. There's no nudity. There's no sexual act being shown. Baseball players pat each other on the butt. How many sitcoms have shown someone slapped in the butt? How many cartoons show slapping in the butt? It's insane to me that people have made it what it is to be. I mean, literally, I had someone try to basically cancel me for writing a fetish book with Barbara Unleashed back when we called it Fetish Babies. And it's not okay. And I wanted to take this time to make you all realize, because there are a lot of people who are like, oh, it's okay to have a fetish. I just can't talk about it. That's dangerous. Because right now they're saying that everything about us, I don't do it. I wear this shirt. There's no nudity on this shirt. I could wear shirts where there was nudity. I've seen them at Comic-Con. They are sold at Comic-Cons. That's fine. If you tie up a girl on a cover, Marvel, DC, and you make it sexualized, you're fine. Absolutely fine. But if you dare try to talk about fetish in an adult manner, if you try to actually educate people about fetish, if you take fetish seriously and the lifestyle and kink, if you take it seriously and put it out there for the world to see, then you're a bad guy? Is that what I'm being told here? Tell me, anyone who watches this, what intimidates them about this? Please tell me why this is so powerful. These are just words, but they are. They literally are. And let me tell you, they are a freak flag. I cannot tell you how many people have come up and thanked me for doing what I do. Even if they don't buy a book, they have followed me on social media. They've sent me emails. I've gotten people sending me pictures when they took the sign and the reactions that they've gotten. This is something that has its own movement almost. My friends constantly see this on social media, and they always tag me in it, and they show, they go, oh my God, they took your picture. This gets around. People love this, but also it upsets a fine night of people, the small-minded people of the world. Here's the only problem, and this is why I bring this to you guys tonight, because it's allowed. In this society, you're allowed to shame people with fetishes still. For those of you watching, you probably have a fetish, and you probably are afraid to share it. Can we get past this moment where we're afraid to share that we have fetishes? So I'm done. I'm done trying to hide who I am. I'm not saying I should do any of that in public, but if you can talk about romance, if you can have all these things about all these other relationships on television, what makes this bad? Same thing. When people talk about blowjobs, they're not showing it on the news, but they'll talk about it on the news. But the minute you start talking about anything with fetish, people, or, oh, I can't believe those deviant people. We got to change that. And it all starts with us not accepting this. Sometimes you got to step back to go forward. I'm in a situation that I won't talk about right now. I will only put it this way. I'm being forced to hide a part of who I am because of the fact that I make a fetish book. And I will literally have to wear a mask. And one day I will tell that story when it's safe and I've changed the world, because that's what I'm after now. Now this has to change. Now this has to end, and this has to be allowed. And everyone needs to grow up and be more adult. And we're going to make sexuality acceptable in America one step at a time. So hopefully you guys follow me in this crusade. comicsunleashed.com is officially built onto our website. You can go there by going to comicsunleashed.com. That is what's hosting this show right now. Here is the evolved, brand new Barbara Unleashed free spanks and hugs, now part of comicsunleashed.com. That's going to be the sticker for 2022. You guys got to see it early. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. This was a bit of a rant versus everything else. But seriously, these words have intimidated people. If anyone knows why or can even make any sense of that, I'm listening. But until I see you next, stay freaky and kinky, my friend, and let your freak fetish flag fly high. And never let anyone tell you who you can be, so long as what you're doing is safe, sane, and always